Today, dads, show up and don't blow up. Welcome to Sacred Grit, a podcast equipping men to conquer addiction and overcome inner struggles through physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines so you can become a man of honor and integrity. I'm Jason.Lyle. Now let's get to work. Today you'll learn kids co-regulate with their fathers. The most powerful thing a father can model is what it looks like to feel something hard and not blow up. And you don't have to be perfect, you have to be present and grounded. This episode is brought to you by Chuck Swenson. What's up, my dude? Welcome back to the Sacred Grit and Sacred Sunday. So let's talk a little bit about being a father and about being a daddy, because there's a lot of men out there that can be a father, but they really struggle to be a daddy. And if you listen to the Sacred Grit podcast very long, you know that me talking about being a regulated human being is top priority. That is what my mission is to teach people how to regulate themselves. And I don't think there's anywhere it is more important for a man to know how to regulate himself than in his home. I remember when I was a kid, and my mom didn't mean anything by this. She was one of the sweetest people on the planet, but she would say, wait till your father gets home, right? Or if my dad came in and he had clearly had a bad day and he was frustrated, I just need you kids to sit down and be quiet, or whatever that was. That kind of controlled the temperature of the house, how we all felt, how we all reacted. If dad fell asleep in his recliner, we all had to kind of tiptoe around the living room. And you know what I found? I carried that same shit into my own house when I got older, right? I would come home. It's like this sense of entitlement. I've worked hard all day and I just need to whatever, A, B, C, or D to rest or relax. And I need you guys to just be quiet. But here's the thing, man. Our kids are co-regulating with us when we walk through the door, right? And when we're dysregulated, the whole house feels it and they react to it. Now, that may give us what we want in the short term. And if you think back a few weeks ago when we talked about anger, we may be able to get control of our external environment by getting big and getting angry and making everybody comply with what we want. But what is the long-term damage that we're doing, right? Because the opposite holds true as well. If dad is grounded, if dad walks through the door, if we spend our day doing the things it takes to keep us regulated, we walk through the door and the whole house is just like, oh, dad's home, and it's like this much more pleasant experience. But our kids will co-regulate with us because we bring the male energy into the house. And that male energy, my dude, is definitely more aggressive than the female energy. So I think we've learned through the process of evolution and through our home training, I'll say, that if we raise our voice and get a little angry, that people will just snap to it and do what we want them to do. But once again, that really destroys our relationship to our kids, and it makes our kids scared of us instead of wanting to come to us and be a part of our lives. And the most powerful thing a father can model is what it looks like to feel something hard and not blow up. What do they say? Behavior is caught, not taught. And I remember my dad used to say, don't do what I do, do what I say. But that's not the way this works, is our kids will do what we do, and they will take lessons from the way that we, operate inside the world. I remember watching my son, when he was little, I'd get upset, and I'm not proud of that, but I would watch him get onto the dog. And I remember thinking he is doing exactly what he's seeing me do. So the opposite, once again, is also true. When I learn how to have nervous system strength, that means I gain the capacity to be able to stop in the moment. And before I become the person that I don't want to be, I grab that moment and I become the person that I want to be. I'm also teaching that to my son or my daughter or anybody else really that's inside of my span of influence in that moment. But we start creating kids that learn that it's okay to feel hard things. Our kids are growing up in a stimulus-rich society between our phones and, all the information flowing back and forth and all these different pressures that they feel to be the best version of themselves. I say that in quotation marks. When they're at home, they need to feel peace and comfort. And here's the thing, dude. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present and regulated. That's the dad that your kids need. I mean, perfection. Listen, I look back across the span of raising my two amazing children and ask myself all the time, how in the world did they turn out that way? And a lot of it has to do with her mama, right? She's a great mama. But I made so many mistakes, and I was definitely not perfect. But some of the most powerful times I had with my kids is when I was able to be present and I was able to be regulated, and everybody was laughing and having a good time. Now, I can equally go back and tell you all the things that I did wrong, but I can also tell you that when things went right, I was present and I was regulated. So, what I want you to think about between now and Gritty Wednesday, when we come back and visit the practical side of this, is how are you when you come home, right? When you walk through the door, how do your kids respond? Are they happy to see you? Are they scared? Does it feel like they're kind of taking the temperature of what the room looks like? What about your wife, right? How does she respond when you come through the door? What kind of mood is he in? But then also ask yourself the question, what are you doing all day long to bring yourself already regulated into the house before you ever walk through the door? I have one of my clients who he comes home, he keeps his running clothes in the back of his car. He slips his clothes on in the garage and takes off running before he ever walks through the door. He knows that he's got to regulate himself or he's going to carry that workload into the home. So ask yourself the question, what do you need to do to bring the most regulated version of yourself into your home? And for me, and for a lot of guys I work with, that is doing the practices every single day and creating a way for you to regulate your nervous system. And that way, you know what it means to downregulate in the moment. And my dude, it will make longer lasting relationships with your kids, with your wife, and with your whole family. So today you learned kids co-regulate with their fathers. The most powerful thing a father can model is what it looks like to feel something hard and not blow up. And you don't have to be perfect. You have to be present and regulated. My dude, thank you for listening. The school course is up, nervous system regulation basics. The link is in the show notes. You can click on that and join. It's $149 to get onto the premium platform, and you can join for free. And then it's an upgrade to get to the course. Would love to have you on there either way. I'm trying to post more content there to help you as you begin your nervous system regulation journey. All right. This episode is brought to you by Oak Haven Diagnostics. My good friend Jody Morgan, he and his wife Jenny, they do pregnancy testing for cattle. It is a great way to manage your herd. If you are in need of their services, you can reach them at oakhavendiagnostics.com. All right, my dude. I hope you have a great week. I will see you on Gritty Wednesday.